not video 4, video 9. Salam alaikum. Anyway, so you need your female, because your female has this, your black female, as represented by the black universe, to kill you, to get rid of your black, to overlook your black, whitewash your black female. Okay, is to basically get rid of your universe in which humanity incarnates. Because that's what it represents, and that's why they do that. That's why they do that. Right? Okay. That's why they do that. Dang, it's 2 o'clock? Ooh. Anyway, so that's why they do that. Now, so anyway, so that's why they do that. And okay, so yeah, okay, so the seed of the woman is to be protected. Her children, Hebrew children, right? Her children will not be compelled to bow down to the beastly Nazi Antichrist Vatican synagogue of shit, as it attempts to rob them of their soul power after robbing the children of their divine life sustaining soul power. The Kemetic Mator, representing Isis, or like it was in Alkebulan, which was overnamed Africa after a man named Africa, right? A European, or I forget what type of man named Africa, right? It was in one of the videos I posted. Anyway, but Africa was not Africa. Africa was named Alkebulan. According to, I forget the name of the guy's name, his name was Dr. Johannan something. I can't remember his name, but he's on YouTube a lot too. He has videos posted on YouTube. Anyway, he's a historian, a great, profound historian. Anyway, and he's the one I got the name Alkebulan out of. Anyway, so the children will be used to support, after trying to take the soul power from the mother, the Kemetic Mator, represented by Isis, or Alkebulan, right? Or Kemet, right? Children will be used to support, as what they're trying to do with HR 242, take the power of the Hebrew people and then use them to go to Ghana and support the Antichrist. That's what they're trying to do. After they take their soul power, the children will be used to support the unholy shit Antichrist, to aid him in further repressing the strong will of their galactic divine Mator, which would be to try to take Jerusalem. So we are in a very, very crucial time. We are in the time of revelations, where all the key players are here: the prophet born of a virgin, the Mahdi, the Antichrist. They're trying to put the shit on the throne. So it's time to wake up, and especially don't go the direction of the North Node and follow the direction. Don't go the direction of the South Node of the root chakra. Don't follow shit. Shit comes from the body. Take the higher consciousness, the Christ consciousness, as it was revealed to have come during the month of Aquarius. Went in the house of the Kaaba. Went into the house of Aquarius, the water bearer, right? And during the month of Aquarius, went into the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the Temple on the Mount in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem, the house of the woman, right? The throne of the woman, and went in there. So he's here, or the prophet born of a virgin is here. Okay? The prophet born of a virgin is here. Okay? So you gotta be, you gotta be control of your own consciousness and return home to the root chakra. Not the root chakra, to the higher consciousness, Christ consciousness, the crown chakra. Okay? The Father consciousness, the higher consciousness, right? Okay. Now, the divine consciousness. All consciousness is good, but the highest is the best, right? Okay. So, okay. I hope let me see. Okay. So, it's represented by the black woman, right? As represented by the north, the north node, right? So, represented by the north node and the south node, the poles. Represented by the Kundalini, when it is red hot at the constellation of Cancer and frigidly cold and blue as Isis at Saturn. The myth of oh, I said that, I read that, good. Okay, I read that. Okay, I read that. Okay, good, which helps me a great deal. Okay, so we said that, okay. Okay, Alpha Kundalini represents the, okay, Julie. Okay. Okay, so let's say Alpha Draconis, Alpha Draco, is the constellation where the rebellious reptilian antimatter space creatures, demons rather, are believed to come from. They're believed to have come from that dimension, that high in the constellations, right? That's where they come from. It is where the rebellious reptilian creatures are said to have traveled to Earth from. It is where the demons, known as reptilians, right? The demons, creatures, are known as the Anunnaki, okay? The fallen jinn, and went into the daughters of men, as in the female galaxy, right? As in women, right? The daughters of men, and produced giants, subhumanoid Neanderthals. Okay, and many of the Neanderthals can be found in the Caucasus. The giants can be, if you go online, you can research giants, and you'll see they were giants. There's skeletons of them. If you go in the Caucasus Mountains, you'll see the heads of many of the demons who manifested into human. They had these deformed skull heads and all this kind of stuff. So these entities do exist, whether you want to believe it or not. Okay, they exist, but you need to raise that Kundalini, raise that higher consciousness, so you can absorb this energy to protect your mind, because you're going to need a strong mind to deal with all this stuff that's coming down in 2019 and the Antichrist and all this stuff. You're going to need a strong mind. Okay, now, so women are repressed by the reptilian or demon beta subhuman humanoid race of beings, and they're done so that they can control and repress all human soul power from evolving beyond the mothership galactic consciousness, physical consciousness. Okay, so the beast stands at the top of the 12 constellations, at the cardinal plane of Cancer, North Star, to turn men and women around by scaring them when their consciousness begins to evolve beyond physical consciousness. So when the crown chakra starts to open up and the person starts to get all emotional and sensitive, and oh my gosh, they just feel out of balance and waking up at night and you'll know when it starts to happen. And when that starts to happen, the person becomes really scared. They become scared. Okay, they become scared, and they get scared of the demon spirits, right? Okay, and that's because those demon spirits are trying to scare them back down so that they don't cross over and become born again. That's what they try to do, try to get them scared and fall down. So they go and wait up there on the cardinal planes, right, near the North Star, where they call him Draco the dragon, right? but it's really the high kundalini when it raises to its highest point, and they try to push it back. They try to scare it back down, make them think they're crazy, they're hearing things, make people, the whole world turn against them, because the person will begin to see the synchronicity in all of life, right? Seeing the whole, and they'll think that the whole world is against them, when it's not the whole world that is against them. It's just that they're able to see the synchronicity, because everything revolves around time. Everything revolves around mathematics. Everything is mathematically synced, right? Synchronized. So they will begin to see and understand the synchronicity of life. So they will think, okay, everything is against them, because they will begin to feel the intense energy of it all, right? And they'll be able to understand it, right? So, yeah, and that will be the outcast, the demon spirit trying to scare them, or demon shit creature trying to scare them. Okay. Now. Okay. So we said their consciousness begins to evolve beyond physical consciousness. The Nazi anti-human Antichrist beast attempts to cause so much pain and fear, and that's what he does, tries to cause so much pain and so much fear in the life of those who ascend, so they will fall asleep and fall back into the poppy field, like the American heroin problem, right? Humanity's starting to evolve, and who had the biggest heroin addiction? Women. Middle class women, right? In the suburbs, right? So they'll fall asleep, and their consciousness will fall asleep, and they will no longer seek empowerment, right? Ascension. Okay. So, just as I said, the heroin epidemic expresses this quite well. Now, and just like LSD was a big problem during the 60s, right? 50s and 60s, when the consciousness of humanity started to awaken in America. Then there was a big LSD problem. Now there's a big heroin problem. And it's funny, the heroin problem came in when they occupied Afghanistan, which has a big poppy fields, right? It has all the poppy fields, right? Okay, so anyway, so they fall back into the poppy field and fall asleep. Once again, fall under the spell, like in words, okay, fall under the spell, the incantations, and be once again trapped as food back in the cage, okay, of their negative cesspool, such as HR 1242, and the migration to Ghana was not, okay, it was not Africa referred to, and was not Africa referred to as a cesspool, and he truly was the real man, Africa, right, to which they named the continent after. Okay. 13. Okay. So, now, Africa was referred to as a shithole cesspool, right? Now, the negative fall back into the negative, shitty unconsciousness, and completely unable to recognize what the fuck has happened to them. That's what they're doing with heroin to the suburban, which was middle class women, right? Now, so in the sleep is where the Antichrist beast prefers to do his best shitty work in attacking the innocent soul. That way, in attacking it that way, the individual will just think he or she has had a bad dream, had a bad nightmare. He will prefer to keep his victims asleep using heroin, LSD, violence, any type of negative he can do, to keep the individual unconscious. Okay? Now, so that way, the individual will just think he or she is just having a nightmare. He prefers to keep his victims asleep, unconscious, toned down, dumbed down to the lowest frequency in the shithole of the root chakra, where the kundalini is at resting state, coiled up, and least active. And Cayenne West and his relationship with Abu Lahab, Jazazapinth, Nazi, Wahhabi, Antichrist, subhumanoid, drunk, is a perfect example of a paranoid and draconian U-turned consciousness, unconscious, left U-turned to an unconscious state while attempting to ascend to the top of the diamond stellar staircase, and unconsciously enter the Christ consciousness of the divine carbon black Father. In fact, it was Cayenne who stated Abu Lahab, or drunk, reminded him, Abu Lahab, just as a Nazi, made him feel like was like a father figure who made him feel like Superman just by being associated with him. The Nazi beta subhuman noid made him feel, powerful, empowered. It made him empowered him, right? Okay. Humanity is not to be influenced by the natural. And this is what they do. Humanity is not to be influenced by the natural feminine life sustaining source power. It is to disassociate itself, and disassociate itself from the female consciousness. One will never get to the father consciousness. They will never. It's like, how can a person disassociate themselves from the mother consciousness? It's like disassociating oneself from the womb. How can one get into this world, this earth plane, without being in the womb? Disassociating oneself from the mother consciousness of this galaxy is like disassociating themselves from the womb and trying to go straight to the Father, back to the Father, don't even enter the mother. It's like what so what the Vatican tries to do, what do they try to do? They when they don't, not monogamous, but they try to live, I forget what they call it, away from, they try not to be married, they try not to, they're not married as monks and all this kind of stuff, not associated with the woman. That's the game they're playing, because they're living the consciousness of the Antichrist, right? Hate the woman, disassociate oneself from the woman, under the guise of that's higher consciousness, because by not utilizing their sperm, it goes back up to their head and wakens their crown chakra and wakes them all up. Okay. As if they would not get blue balls ever, right? They would never get blue balls through that practice. So right there tells you that lifestyle is a lie, right? And that's why they pedophile on children, right? So they're conscious. So they are the profounders. They are the progenitors of that negative consciousness, because they can't open their crown chakra, right? So they feed their soul power on little children, little boys, right? To get that soul power, because the little boys have that soul power, right? They have the soul power, and they give it. They are the ones who, like the Alpha and like Andromeda, they disseminated into the female galaxy, right? Okay, so for it to manifest, right, on the earthly plane, or to manifest as life as Earth has manifested, right? Okay. So their life as monks, and I forget what they call it, how they live, but without being with women, right? Not without marriage, right? So they get blue balls, if they don't have, just like any other man. They're not exempt from that, and they don't have a higher consciousness for it to rise. What do you think they do with it? Okay. So anyway, in the sleep state is where they attack people, make them think they just had a dream. Okay, they dumb them down. Okay, they dumb them down to the lowest frequency, so to be tuned down, root chakra, to the shithole of the root chakra where the kundalini is in its resting state, coiled up, and least active. We said that about that, okay. Humanity is to be uninfluenced by the natural feminine life-sustaining soul power at its flow as it flows from the divine black mother, Mator of the Milky Way, or as it's represented by the divine feminine of black women, as it's represented by women in general, right? As it flows from the feminine, the divine feminine, okay, as it naturally flows from the divine feminine holistically, and is sustained by the galactic life force sustaining. Is sustained by the galactic life sustaining light or consciousness as it comes into as it comes into the female galaxy, the Milky Way, as it comes into the Andromeda from other galaxies, as it's delivered to man, as it comes into the Andromeda from the angels themselves, as it comes from Allah, right? As it's generated in this into the whole world, as it comes into man, right? As it comes down to man, right? And woman, okay? Now, so denying themselves female energy or connection to the female energy is just like keeping Andromeda and the feminine and the Milky Way separate, right? To not manifest, right? Because that's how things are manifested, through energy. So playing that Vatican game is bullshit. Of misogyny and chauvinism is bullshit. Man only hears himself. Okay, so now, because it's a life-sustaining energy, right? Now, that's like trying to stay away from woman. Telling him to stay away from woman is like saying, okay, man, when man brings the food in the house, don't eat it. Don't eat it. Don't eat the food. That the mother cooks. Don't eat the food. Okay? You need her to aid you inside. And don't breastfeed. Don't breastfeed. And they don't breastfeed, many of them. Okay, so they're not to associate themselves with the life-sustaining consciousness to get to the Christ consciousness, right? Because they're supposed to hate black people too. Now, so they're supposed to hate the Christ consciousness of their divine masculine and the carbon black galactic father of Andromeda, right? Which Andromeda, let's say, represents. If you look at Andromeda, the end of Andromeda, Andromeda is spelled Andromeda, Meda. Now Adem spells Adam. Okay? So look at your words closely. Okay? There's truth in the words and there's lies in the words. Okay? Now, so humanity is essentially left feeling abandoned, scared by not having connection to their mother or their father, and all alone, as stated. Just as Cayenne, as is said, he felt before he placed the draconian red cap upon his head and vacillated himself, capitulating whatever remained of his free will, his soul power, to the beta subhumanoid beast. Okay? Now, so Alpha Draconian beta subhumanoids do have the mind power to control the Milky Way of Andromeda, of the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies, due to Cain's curse, a lack of hue, gypsum, transparent skin, blonde hair, no hue in their hair, no hue in their eyes. Okay? They do not have enough melanin to produce the ability to activate their pineal gland or their third eye. So they have a programmed establishment of negative energy, toxic commercial environment, or they have been programmed They have programmed and established a negative energy, toxic commercial environment, social engineering that causes humanity, okay, to voluntarily surrender their free will power by way of voting or birthright certificate system, or the newest form, robbing humanity through blood sacrifices, such as DNA bio-identifications now, stealing the genetic sequence of all humanity, right, to create their perfect Nazi, in their perfect Nazi genome project, right? So, now they're talking about, oh, they want bio-identification because the Social Security system has been penetrated, has been hacked. Okay, then find another goddamn way. They find a way to keep the money safe. Find a way to keep the Social Security system safe, okay? Find a way to do that. Instead of taking people's blood, and that would be a blood sacrifice, right? And it's giving one soul, because now they would sequence the person's DNA. And I don't know if they can clone people or not. I don't know about all that stuff just yet, but if they could, they would, let's put it this way, okay? I don't know about cloning, but they can certainly use the DNA sequence to steal the best of that which is humanity, okay? So, and bio-reproduce it, let's put it that way. It is why man and woman are oppressed, limited to the root chakra, lowest common denominator of existence, right below the Orion's belt. They're kept below Orion's belt, physically, consciously. It is a limited consciousness, negative altered state of pimps and whores relationship, only so that humanity will unconsciously procreate slaves and more pimps and more whores for the German Nazi Antichrist Vatican Babylon to control and feed upon. Man and woman were not to have any divine love affair with any spiritual binding, spiritual binding, such as marriage brings. That's why they broke up the institution of marriage, and divorce rate is high, and young people don't even get married anymore, pretty much. They were to have limited engagement with each other. Men are to be perceived as only wanting sex from a woman, and women are to be perceived as only wanting money from a man, from the man they encounter, and they are willing to, have and grab their pussy. Let men grab their pussy as long as they are willing to pay for it. Okay? Now, in a commercial money-based system, the man is to be perceived as never ever being sexually satisfied, as demonstrated by the pussy grabber Abu Lahab, Jazazapin's Nazi Wahhabi drunk. The woman can never ever have enough money to she's never satisfied, be perceived as never having enough money. She can never be satisfied. She's a gold digger, right? She is liable to be, as I said, she's liable to be a gold digger in an overly sex commercial root chakra consciousness world, overly indulged, negatively induced in a sexual commercial, overly indulged, negative induced antimatter environment. The woman must be naked, okay? If she's to receive any attention at all, she's to be naked, right? She's to be exposing all of her, the woman is to be exposing all of her goodness, right? All of her virtue, all of her beauty, right? And that's all that's basically what a woman has. No, that's not what a basic woman has. But that's the beauty of the body of the woman. And that's why in Islam it said a woman is to cover that up, that beauty up, because it's so enticing, right? It's so seductive, right? But in the commercial world, she's to expose that, right? That's to be exposed. And even in European countries, a Muslim woman can't even cover up. She's not to even cover up, right? She's got to expose her body, right? Okay. Now, so in the commercial world, she's to be naked to attract a man, so exposing everything about her body part. A woman cannot satisfy a man, and a man is stated. A man cannot satisfy a woman, and a woman cannot satisfy a man. I mean, a woman cannot satisfy a man, and a man cannot satisfy a woman. Woman cannot understand a man, and man can understand a woman. It's babble, all babble, because it is all temporal root chakra, simple gratification based upon unconscious physical below the belt stimulation. Okay, we're going to get ready to go to video 10 soon. Okay, so humanity is mind controlled all the while being sexually engineered. I mean, sexually engineered too, right? Socially engineered by the Draconian subhumanoid social economic system, and places the beta junk Draconian DNA demonic reptilian conscious man, subhumanoid, in control of their political, commercially enforced system. Okay, we're getting ready to go to video 10. Okay, now it is very important to repeat it is very important to repeat just as the German Nazi Vatican is to represent the woman, and makes a woman dependent upon the Draconian commercial system, because he's dependent on imitating her. So he can't let her go, because he's got to imitate her, right? He's got to represent her. He's got to represent himself as her, right? He's got to be seen as the woman. So he needs to repress her, because he can't let her beauty be seen. He can't let her stand in her own beauty, because he can't compete with that. So he can't compete with her by trying to condition her, to represent something that he represents, right? Okay. So anyway, so the woman is to be dependent upon the Draconian commercial system for her support, and she is not to have any influence over her children, just as it is in the home of the evangelical cult-run Nazi conservative Christian home, which is staged to be the model for the world to follow, just like the castrated bride malaria of Abu Lahab, Jezazapin's Nazi Wahhabist drunk. And we're going to go to video 10. Okay, or I'll try to keep reading if I can. Okay, so yeah. Okay, according to the Vatican, Nazi Vatican, according to the Nazi Vatican, children make them children. Well, we're just gonna wait. Okay, and I can be yeah, because in the evangelical home, only the man is to control, right? Only the man, the evangelical Nazi is to have the power, and the woman is to be controlled just like a child. Okay, so we're gonna go to video